Hello and welcome to Easy English Conversations, the podcast for English learners who want to practice their listening skills in a fun and natural way. I'm your host, Avery.
And I'm Laura. We're so glad you could join us today.
Today we're talking about a topic that can be a little stressful for anyone, especially if you're in a new country or speaking a new language. We're talking about going to the doctor.
That's right, Avery. Feeling sick is already difficult, and worrying about how to talk to a doctor in English can add extra stress. But don't worry, we're here to help.
Exactly. We're going to break it down into simple steps, from making an appointment to talking about your symptoms. We'll give you the vocabulary and phrases you need to feel confident.
So let's get started.
Okay, Laura, let's start at the very beginning. The first step is making an appointment. What do our listeners need to know?
Well, first you need to find a doctor's office or a clinic. If you have health insurance, it's a good idea to check which doctors are in-network.
That's a really important phrase, in-network. Can you explain what that means?
Of course. In-network means that the doctor or clinic has an agreement with your insurance company, so your insurance will pay for a larger part of the cost. If a doctor is out of network, you will have to pay more yourself.
Right, so it saves you money. Okay, so you found your in-network doctor. Now you need to call them. What do you say?
You can keep it very simple. When they answer the phone, you can say, "Hello, I'd like to make an appointment to see a doctor, please."
Perfect. The person on the phone, usually the receptionist, will probably ask you a few questions. They'll likely ask, "Are you a new patient?"
A new patient is someone who has never been to that clinic before. If it's your first time, you say yes.
And if you're a new patient, they will need to get some information from you. Things like your full name, your date of birth, your phone number, and your insurance information. So it's a good idea to have your insurance card ready when you call.
That's a great tip. They will also ask for the reason for your visit.
Yeah, but you don't need to give a long, detailed story. You can just say something general. For example, "I have a cold," or "I have a sore throat."
What if you're not sick? What if you just want a general health visit?
In that case, you can say, "I'd like to schedule a checkup," or "I'd like to schedule an annual physical." Both of those mean a routine visit to check your overall health.
Right. So after you give them the reason, they will offer you a date and a time for the appointment. They might say, "We have an opening on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Does that work for you?"
Yes, that works for me. Or if it doesn't, you can say, "I'm sorry, I'm not available then. Do you have anything in the afternoon?"
Exactly. Once you agree on a time, it's a good idea to repeat it back to them to make sure you heard it correctly. And definitely write it down.
Yes, write it down. So just to review, you call, say you want to make an appointment, give your information, and find a time that works. Simple as that.
Okay, so you've made the appointment. Now it's the day of your visit. What happens when you get to the doctor's office, Avery?
The first thing you'll do is go to the front desk and check in with the receptionist. You can say something like, "Hello, I have a 10:30 appointment with Dr. Evans."
And they'll probably ask for your name and date of birth to confirm. They will also likely ask for your ID and your insurance card, so have those ready.
Right. And if you're a new patient, be prepared for paperwork.
Ah, yes, the forms. They will give you a clipboard with several pages to fill out. This paperwork usually asks for your personal information and your medical history.
What kind of things are included in your medical history?
It's information about your health in the past. It will ask about things like allergies you have, any surgeries you've had, any serious illnesses, and any medications you are currently taking.
It's really important to be honest and complete on these forms. The doctor needs this information to treat you safely. If you don't know the English word for a medication or a condition, you can use a translation app on your phone to help.
That's a good idea. Once you've finished the paperwork, you give it back to the receptionist. Then you'll take a seat in the waiting room.
And you wait. Sometimes you wait for a little while.
Yes, it's very normal. After a bit, a nurse or a medical assistant will come out and call your name. They'll lead you from the waiting room to an exam room.
The exam room is the private room where you will see the doctor. But first, the nurse will do a few things. They'll probably check your vital signs.
Right. They'll take your temperature, measure your blood pressure with a cuff that squeezes your arm, and maybe check your height and weight. This is all standard procedure.
The nurse will also ask you again, "So, what brings you in today?" This is another chance to state the reason for your visit. Then, the nurse will leave and you'll wait for the doctor to come in. Okay, now for the most important part, talking with the doctor. This can be intimidating, but there are ways to make it easier. What's your number one tip, Laura?
My best tip is to be prepared. Before you even go to the doctor, think about your symptoms and write them down on a piece of paper or in your phone.
That is such a good idea. Let's define symptoms. What are they?
Symptoms are the physical or mental feelings that show you have an illness. For example, a headache is a symptom. A cough is a symptom. Feeling tired is a symptom.
Right. So when the doctor comes in, they'll introduce themselves and ask what's wrong. This is when you can describe your symptoms. It's helpful to be as specific as possible.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, "I don't feel well," try to give more detail. For example, "I have a sore throat and a runny nose. I've had these symptoms for 3 days."
That's much more helpful for the doctor. They might also ask you questions to get more information. They might ask, "When did the pain start?" Or, "Can you describe the pain? Is it sharp or dull?"
And if you don't understand a question, it is completely okay to ask them to explain. You can say, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you say that in a different way?"
Absolutely. Never be afraid to ask for clarification. It's about your health. The doctor wants to help you, so they will be happy to explain.
After you talk about your symptoms, the doctor will likely need to do an examination. This means they will physically check you. They might listen to your heart and lungs with a stethoscope, look in your ears and throat, or press on your stomach.
Right. They will tell you what they are going to do before they do it. After the examination, the doctor will tell you their diagnosis.
A diagnosis is a very important word. It's the doctor's identification of your illness or problem. They might say, "It looks like you have the flu," or "You have a sinus infection."
Once you have the diagnosis, the doctor will recommend a treatment. Treatment is the plan to help you get better.
Right. The treatment could be simple advice like, "You should get a lot of rest and drink plenty of fluids." Or they might give you a prescription for medicine.
Let's talk about that word, prescription. What is it?
A prescription is a written order from your doctor for a specific medicine. You take this prescription to a pharmacy or a chemist's, and they will give you the medicine.
This is another time when it's very important to ask questions. Before you leave the room, make sure you understand the treatment plan.
Yes, you can ask questions like, "How often should I take this medicine?" Or, "Should I take it with food?" You can also ask about side effects.
That's a good one. A side effect is an unwanted effect that the medicine might have. Another good question to ask is, should I make a follow-up appointment?
A follow-up appointment is a second visit to check on your progress and see if the treatment is working. The doctor will tell you if you need one.
It seems like the main lesson here is prepare beforehand and don't be afraid to ask questions.
That's it exactly. Doctors know that medical topics can be confusing, and they expect you to have questions. It's their job to make sure you understand.
Wow, that was a lot of really useful information, Laura. I think that will help a lot of our listeners feel more comfortable about visiting a doctor.
I hope so. The most important things to remember are to be prepared and to advocate for yourself by asking questions.
Definitely. Let's do a quick review of some of the key vocabulary words we talked about today.
Good idea. We learned about making an appointment, which is your scheduled time to see the doctor.
We talked about symptoms, which are the feelings or problems in your body, like a cough or a fever.
Then there's the diagnosis, which is the name of your illness.
And the doctor might give you a prescription, which is an order for medicine that you take to the pharmacy.
And finally, a follow-up appointment, which is a second visit to check your progress.
That's a great summary. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks so much for listening to Easy English Conversations. We hope this was helpful for you.
Join us next time for another simple and useful conversation. Until then, keep practicing. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.